Zachary and the Painting by Nanny Linda. Zachary was sat at his desk in his study, staring at a painting of a wise man wearing a frown, who was dressed in a long robe carrying a lantern, which glowed and cast an aura all around. Also in the painting, a path meandered through a beautiful landscape which was unusual but oddly serene, and the path disappeared through the woodland and around a lake that glistened and gleamed. It looked just like a maze, with so many twists and turns, and a waist-high wall made of pork pies. And the imaginative artist who had produced the work was Zachary's auntie, named Jezebel Wise. The lake bubbled and fizzed just like lemonade, and it looked like lollipops were growing here and there. And the sky of blue had candy floss clouds, just like you would buy at the fair. The leaves on the trees were made of marzipan, painted in all shades of green, and all the flowers looked like scrumptious cream cakes, a sweet-toothed lover's dream. The man in the robe had long white hair and a beard and stood tall with the grace of a knight, and he was always in the very same spot under the tree, with his lantern burning bright. This was a magical picture that Zachary had stepped into on many occasions, travelling through time and space, visiting strange worlds and gaining knowledge, and many odd situations he sometimes faced. The picture would always look different because it changed as each new journey began, but the man in the robe always remained the same, with the glowing guiding light held in his hand. The house had been left to Zachary by the artist, his auntie, who knew he would value her art, because travelling through time was a privilege, and every new journey he was always eager to start. It was now time for another adventure, travelling off to who knows where. So as Zachary saw the lantern's familiar flicker, he said the magic words, and immediately he was there. The man in the robe greeted him with his usual nod of his head and said, "It is again time to travel and learn. Remember that I am Atticus the timekeeper, and will summon you when you need to return." Zachary started walking, while the world he was now in spun around. He always felt so very dizzy at this point on his journey, and always had to stop and sit down. The wall he was resting against started talking to him, and told him to eat a pork pie, which he did as he walked to the lemonade lake, and had a drink as he passed by. In a field there were pasty-shaped horses, and in another field sausage roll-looking sheep. And then Zachary saw houses made of pizza, some with roofs which resembled shredded wheat. Zachary then came across a village with cottages made of different coloured sponge cake, with little chocolate people in a fishing boat on the sparkling lemonade lake. Zachary kept walking for quite a while, snacking on the scenery and admiring the view, until he came to a garden and noticed a person who he realised he could see straight through. Some flowers were little biscuits, some were coloured iced cakes, and the path was made of jam tarts with a border of chocolate flakes. "Hello there," said Zachary. "I'm a time traveller visiting your unusual world, and there is nothing that shocks or surprises me, even a see-through little girl." The young girl giggled and gurgled as she danced and floated around. "I'm Bubbles," she said, as she appeared and stood in front of him, then in a pop disappeared and floated away without a sound. Zachary then walked through the garden, eating some flowers as he went on his way, until he came to a cabin resembling pretzel sticks, where two children were happy at play. The children were jelly babies, one purple and the other was blue, who started shouting at Zachary, "Who are you? Who are you? Who are you?" Once again, Zachary shouted, "Hello there, I'm a traveller from a land far, far away. I don't mean you any harm. I was just watching you enjoying your play." Zachary then heard a very strange noise, and a yellow lady came bouncing from the house, and she shouted, "I am Mummy Custard. What's all the noise about?" Zachary then knew the timekeeper was calling, letting him know it was time for him to leave, and before he knew what was happening, he was back beside Atticus under the tree. "Well, this was a very strange journey," said Zachary, as he looked up at Atticus, so distinguished and tall, can't really explain what land I have travelled to, but I'm definitely not hungry at all." "Farewell then, traveller," said Atticus. "Another successful journey completed for here and now. Although it may not make much sense to you at this moment in time, it may assist you in the future some way, somehow. Please remember, Zachary, to always share all the knowledge you have gained from all of your journeys in a special place for all to find, and always pursue and enjoy the magical, the weird and the wonderful, so the imagination never gets left behind." Then in a flash, Zachary was sat in his study chair and looking at his beautiful wall of art, while holding in his hand a rather crumbly, half-eaten little sticky jam tart. And as he gazed across his room, he noticed a bubble floating through the air, which giggled and gurgled, and then landed on his head, and then exploded in his hair.